I recently, not too long ago, met a 27-year-old bad bitch in Huntington Beach. About a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. She is the snow. And she is also an RN. When I met this bitch, I was sure I could have fucked her that night. The strong choosing signals a bitch sent me, the vibes that was in the air during the conversation, it was lit. But I was stoic, and I just thought we gonna play this out at a different time. I didn't even push the line. She followed me on IG on the spot. We started communicating that day forward. Here is the weird shit that happened. I scheduled 3 dates with this bitch, and she flaked on all the dates. A nigga from Los Angeles writing to BossMack. He say, BossMack, I'm a 28-year-old surgeon in my residency with a few bitches I'm trying to get at. However, it's tricky to really hang out with bitches because I don't have a lot of free time. But be that as it may, I recently, not too long ago, met a 27-year-old bad bitch in Huntington Beach. About a month and a half, maybe 2 months ago. She is the snow. And she is also an RN. When I met this bitch, I was sure I could have fucked her that night. The strong choosing signals a bitch sent me, the vibes that was in the air during the conversation, it was lit. But I was stoic, and I just thought we gonna play this out at a different time. I didn't even push the line. She followed me on IG on the spot. We started communicating that day forward. Here is the weird shit that happened. I scheduled 3 dates with this bitch, and she flaked on all the dates. The first time a bitch flaked, she texted me the morning of the date and told me her mother had came into town and she was on some surprise shit. A bitch said, let's reschedule. I was like, cool. I fell back and didn't even try to contact the bitch. And she hit me up a few days later, apologetic as fuck, and rescheduled. The next time the bitch flaked, a bitch called me the day before the date and told me she was sick as fuck. She had ate at a taco stand on the side of the road on some spontaneous shit with one of her homegirls, and she was sorry as fuck. I was like, this bitch is really playing with me. I fell back again, and the bitch called me on some super apologetic shit and was like, I owe you dinner. I owe you, and was on some, I owe you dinner. I owe you some dinner type shit. A bitch was super sorry. I was like, okay, no worries, shit happens. Then a bitch rescheduled for the 3rd time. Then again, the day before the date, a bitch called me and was like, I can't believe this shit. I had to cancel again. I have to cover a shift for a friend of mine on some emergency shit. Please forgive me. BossMack, what are your thoughts on this? Do you think a bitch is really playing with me? I feel like I need to block this bitch, but I feel like that's some sucker shit. What do you think? All right. I think, a lot of times as fast as you could pull a bitch, like, if you just pull a bitch with ease, sometimes you could lose a bitch just as quick. You know what I'm saying? You know, um, you got potential. You a surgeon in residency. You ain't really touched the bag yet. You gotta imagine a RN bitch, 27. Huntington Beach. She probably fucking a couple different motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying? And it might be a case of like, uh, who's coming through with the best package. You know what I'm saying? Who has the best entertainment package for that night? Out of all the niggas, the motherfuckers that like her. You know what I'm saying? She might schedule you, another motherfucker, and another motherfucker, and then you say I want to go out to dinner and do this, that, and then this other motherfucker might say, you know what? We should go get on my boat. I got a boat down here in Newport at Dr. Newport. We should go get on my boat and parlay. You know what I'm saying? Motherfuckers coming with dip. You know what I mean? And then, a bitch go with the best package. You know what I'm saying? And and then so this is how I look at flaking. This is how I judge flaking. You know what I'm saying? Now, I look at flaking like, I'm gonna use Drake as an example. I know Drake, ain't the most popular motherfucker, but I'm gonna use Drake as an example. I always like to use Drake. I always feel like, if a bitch met Drake, right, and Drake scheduled a date, you know what I'm saying? Drake hit a bitch up and was like, you know what? I wanna, hang out, get something to eat, you know what I'm saying? Is a bitch gonna flake on Drake? You know what I'm saying? Is a bitch gonna flake on Drake? And it's some bitches out there. I believe it's a teeny tiny percentage of bitches out there that might flake on Drake. But for the most part, bitches is not gonna flake on Drake. Bitches gonna find a way to to make it. You know what I'm saying? Even if a bitch is sick or whatever, a bitch is gonna patch herself up and make it to that thing with Drake, and then she gonna let him know that she wish she could give him some pussy, but she's sick or she this or she that, but she just didn't, she wanted to make it. You know what I'm saying? If Drake schedules some shit with a bitch, let's look at it like this. If Drake schedules some shit with a bitch and her mama surprise came into town, she would tell her moms, I'm gonna link up with you after I go out with Drake. You know what I'm talking about? I scheduled a date with, I'm supposed to go out with Drake, and I'm gonna link up with you when I get back from there. If I get back. I might, a bitch determined to give out some pussy. You know what I'm saying? If unless Drake tell a bitch she gotta leave, then she'll link up with her mom. You know what I'm saying? If a bitch had a date with Drake, if Drake had scheduled a date with a bitch, and then her friend called her and said, oh my God, I got an emergency. Can you cover my shift? A bitch would be like, no, bitch, I can't cover your shift. I can't cover your shift. You know what I'm saying? I can't do it. I'm sorry. So that's how I judge the flaking. That's how I judge that flaking. You know what I'm saying? That's how I judge flaking. You can judge it how you want to judge it, but that's how I judge the flaking. You know what I'm saying? Now, I wouldn't block a bitch. I would let a bitch watch me fuck with other bitches though. I would let a bitch watch me fuck with other bitches. And then, if a bitch, I would not try to schedule nothing with a bitch no more. And then if a bitch hit me up talking about let's go out on a date or something or whatever, I'll be like, you can pull up to the crib if you want to. If you want to pull up to the crib, you can pull up, but I don't want to schedule nothing because you done 42 faked on me, way too many times, you know what I'm saying? I feel, I can't help but feel I can't but help but feel the disrespect, you know what I'm talking about? Like, so you can pull up to the crib if you want to pull up. But you look like you wanna be out and about. I don't know. Hit the like button. Only acceptable thing, top before you spend $1 on her to make it up. Anything other than that, serve her walking papers. She has total control. You an extra in her movie. LS says Drake back at Langston said Drake lame in real life. He got all his ism from brothers. Ain't he black? Drake is black. After the first flake, she dead to me. I feel you. I would reduce a bitch to pull up. You can pull up if you want to. I'm scared to schedule some shit with you, bitch. You too, You got my hopes up. I had reservations. I would put extras on it. I would lie. I would put extras on it. I'd be like, yeah, I had reservations and shit. You fucked off my reservations and shit. We was gonna go to a Michelin star restaurant and shit. They taxed me and shit. I lost money and shit. They taxed me for canceling and shit. Or I had to go by myself there and shit. You know what I'm saying? So they wouldn't tax me. You know what I'm saying? I just went on and so they wouldn't tax me. You know what I mean? You know what I'm saying? You can pull up though if you want to pull up. I'm at the house. I'm at the crib. You can pull up. Pull up. Hit the like button. Attempted flake is a sign of a red flag. Super facts. But bro saying Drake in 2022, listen, man, I don't know, man. I feel like Drake, Dot reduced Drake power. Dot for sure reduced Drake's power, right? But I've had conversations with bad bitches recently. You understand me? I've had conversation with bad bitches recently that love Drake right now. And they don't even look at, these bitches don't even look at Drake for no battle lyrics. They don't even care about tough Drake. These bitches that I spoke to about Drake, they don't even care about Drake when he pretend to be tough. They focused on only like that album that he just dropped. They focused on that album that he just dropped with Party Next Door. They own that.